Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mark Onstadt coming to you here from I'm actually in California, but we're from Colorado Springs, Colorado, and we're going to be running through the ASAP appointment today, which is the first initial appointment you do with a trainee, getting them in the field and getting them exposure in their market. And it's a great presentation because it really tells the story of our company, who we are, what we do, what the trainee is doing with us, and of course the objective here is certainly to get referrals, certainly to get an invitation to the corporate overview, as well as line the clients up to get their own roadmap done. That's the primary objective here. So I want you to watch the questions that I'm asking, the way I'm involving Mike and April, who are our clients, our couple here this afternoon. Katie is the one that's being field trained, is a good friend of Mike and April are helping out Katie with her training today. And so I'm going to start off with building rapport with the 5-minute conversation, and of course start off the appointment with the idea that our company is expanding, we're looking for good people, and I certainly want to plant that seed with Mike and April that we're looking for good people, so that if it's them that are the people that will come to the corporate overview, or if it's somebody that they know that might be interested in the corporate overview, you definitely want to plant that seed. This appointment is not just about getting referrals, it's not just about getting a roadmap, but it really is about making sure that if we can, getting them down to the corporate overview as guests to the corporate overview. And so I'm going to start now just in building some rapport with the 5-minute conversation, and then Katie will edify and we'll jump into the presentation. The mission statement of our company is to help people build and protect wealth for their families. And so do you guys think that most people that you know in Colorado Springs, whether it be you or somebody you know, do you think they care about at some point in their life building and protecting wealth for their family?
Yes.
It is, right? I know that's kind of a silly question, but what Katie is going to be doing with our company is helping people to accomplish a goal that, of course, they already care about accomplishing, right? We believe in creating relationships based on trust and building business referrals. And so again, this is where Katie really counts on you guys to think of people that would benefit from what she's going to be doing in referring her to families that would really benefit from what we do. Okay, so again, consider the two perspectives. And I know I've said this already before, but I really want you guys thinking of people. Is there somebody you know that can benefit from our message? Could this information help me or my family financially, meaning you guys? And so think about those things as we go through. In the gray area of the page here, I want to explain quickly the process that Katie's going to be taking families through. And so you'll know when you refer people to Katie, you'll know exactly what you're referring them to, what process they're going to go through. Okay. The first visit, the associate, Katie, will be discussing concepts, gathering some financial data, and scheduling a follow-up appointment. Okay, so Katie's not going to be making recommendations to a client on that first appointment. All we're doing is educating, getting their goals down on paper, and going through some basic financial principles and concepts. Okay. The second thing that Katie will be doing is performing a financial needs analysis. I'm actually going to show you an example of one here when we're done, but she plugs in information to a software program in order to produce a plan, and then the associate returns to make the recommendation to the client and help them to start implementing the plan. Okay, so does that sound like a fair way of doing things for people? They don't have to make a decision the first time we meet them and everything?
Sounds good.
Okay, all right, very good. The other thing that's very unique about our company is that we represent, Transamerica World Financial Group, we represent 80 to 85% of the industry. So for example, Katie will be working with companies like Transamerica and Transamerica Products, Pacific Life, ING, and Nationwide. Do some of these companies ring a bell to you guys? Are they brand new companies you recognize?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they all look familiar.
Yeah, okay. So the thing I want you to know here is that Katie is not representing companies that are small or haven't been around for a long time. Most of the firms that we represent and work with are solid companies in the industry, okay? And so I'm glad you guys recognize some of those. The areas that we work in, as I said before, are different types of insurances, making sure income is protected. We also work with annuities. Did you guys ever have parents that retired from companies after many years, working 30 or 40 years? What did people always get from the company once they retired?
Like a watch or something?
A watch, really? I wasn't thinking of a watch, but April, do you have any idea? Like when somebody works for a company for 30 or 40 years, what do they get once they retire usually, besides a watch?
Yeah, I get from a long line of entrepreneurs, but I know that people get pensions.
Yes, pension plans, right.
Yeah. Most
companies are doing away with pensions, and one of the things that we do is we provide private pensions for those families to make sure that they will have income in retirement. That's what an annuity is. We work with investments, IRAs, retirement, and college savings. So you can see we're very diversified in what we do as a company, right? And so the next thing I want to talk about here really is the thing that really sets us apart. There are a lot of companies that do what we do, but very few companies that do it like we do it, okay? You think of most of the bigger financial firms in our industry. Who do you think they're mainly targeting? Like, what types of clients or people do you think a company like Merrill Lynch is targeting? What would you guys say? Do you guys have any idea?
People with lots of money.
Yeah, people with lots of money, generally, right? Our company, the mission statement of our company, the tagline to it is "No family left behind." Okay, and so what that means is that we're there to serve families that, for the most part, are overlooked by the financial services industry. Okay, and again, that's one of the things that Katie told me that she really loves about what we do, is that we're there really to make a difference in the lives of families that will be overlooked by the industry. And so, as it says, most of those families that we deal with are living with too much debt and not enough protection on their income. Okay, they have limited savings, if any, without a clear understanding of how much savings is enough. Do you guys use 401ks at your jobs? You do? Mike, use a 401k?
Yep.
If you don't mind me asking, what percentage do you put into your 401k?
5%.
You do 5%? Okay. Now, how did you decide? Do you remember how you decided on 5%? Like, what was the reason that you chose 5%?
Just, that's the most the company would match, was up to 5%.
Okay, okay. And that's usually what I'll hear. It's either what they match on, it's what you can afford, or it's what your friends are doing. Right? These are the reasons why people save and do accounts. They don't really understand how they work. Like, in other words, you're not saving 5% because you know without a shadow of a doubt that you're going to be able to retire on 5%.
Right.
Right? Don't you think it'd be a good thing for people to know what it's going to take for them to hit their goals?
Absolutely,
Right?
yeah.
Instead of just, well, that's what the company matches me on, right? And so that's what we're talking about here, is that those families really don't know if what they're saving is enough. They don't have enough income, and they're not sure how to fix the problem. Okay? So when you think of the people that you know, your friends, your family, people that you guys know, are there people that you guys know that have struggled with areas such as these that I've talked about here?
Sure.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot, okay. So April, those would be the types of families that we can make a difference for. You know, when you said that in dental hygiene, that one of the reasons that you went into dental hygiene was to make a difference for people, we're making that same type of difference, but in their financial health, right, instead of their dental health. So think of those families as we finish up tonight, and we'll make sure we get those names down. And so the result of living with those struggles are people have loss of peace of mind. They have stress and frustration in their homes. There's negative impacts on families. If Katie could be in a position of providing the answers that people need to overcome the challenges that they're facing, do you think that's a conversation that most people would want to have?
Yeah, absolutely.
It is, right? Because people naturally care about these things, and again, that's why Katie's with us. That's why we're growing and expanding. And so we pride ourselves on education, educating families on basic things like what we call financial independence. Financial independence is about saving more and spending less, living within one's means, right? Protecting loved ones should the worst case scenario occur, systematically reducing and eliminating debt, long-term planning and savings that protect your family for life. Right? And these are all basic things, right? These are things that most people know they need to do. But if you were to scale it on a scale of 1 to 10, right, 10 being the best, 1 being not good, how do you think most people that you know, or most people in Colorado Springs, how do you think they're doing as it relates to these things here?
Pretty low.
What would you say?
I'd say 3, maybe 4 for most people.
Yeah, 3 and 4. So it's on the low end, right? And so those are the types of families we want to make sure that we help. Okay, and you can see why Katie's excited about what she's doing with our company, right? Making a difference for people in this way. So I'm going to take you guys through a few educational pieces that Katie is going to be working with, so you'll know again when you refer people to Katie what they're going to be learning. And the first thing that I like to teach is on the power of time. Okay, people don't understand money, and they don't understand the time value of money, and this is a good example of that. So here are two people, person A, okay, and person B. Person A is going to save $5,000 a year for 40 years. That person's going to put away $200,000 of their own money, okay? And person B is going to procrastinate. Have you guys ever procrastinated on something before?
Oh, yeah.
Putting things off, right? We're masters at just putting things off, right? And so person B is going to decide, you know what? I've got debt I'm going to pay off, or we're going on this trip, or I'd rather spend my money on something else. And so they're going to wait only 2 years to start saving money. So they're going to save $5,000 a year, but they're going to do it for 38 years. The difference is only 2 years. So they're going to put away $190,000 of their money, which is still a lot of money, right? Now, person A accumulates $2.2 million. Person B accumulates $1.8 million, which is still, again, a lot of money. But by waiting just 2 years, it costs person B $400,000 to wait 2 years. Isn't that amazing? Do you think that person B, if they would have known it was going to cost them $400,000, do you think they would have waited those 2 years if they would have known that?
No.
Probably not, right? And so this is the importance of getting people started right away. Another perspective on that $400,000 is that's like somebody working a job 8 hours a day, 5 days a week at $96 an hour, okay? Do you think, April, if the dental hygienist office was paying you $96 an hour, would you be happy with that?
No, but I would have already been retired.
Yeah, right. Most people would love to work a job for $96, but that's essentially what people are giving up by not starting to save, right? One of the other things that Katie's going to be working with is something we call the Rule of 72. I love teaching this rule. It's a rule that I think should be taught in 5th grade math, and people just don't know it. When I say Rule of 72, are you guys familiar with the Rule of 72? Have you heard that rule before?
No.
No? Okay, here's how it works. The Rule of 72 simply says that if you take the interest rate that you're earning and you divide that number into 72, it'll tell you how often your money is going to double, okay? So let's say you take your money down to the bank, and I'm the banker, and you say, hey Mark, I've got $10,000 that I want to put away. What are you paying in interest? I said, well, we're paying 2%. You put your money in the bank, and then you ask me, the next question is, when am I going to have $20,000? When am I going to double my money? If I take the 2% interest rate that I'm paying you, I divide that number into 72, the end result is 36. So the answer is 36 years. You'll have $20,000 in 36 years. Now here's a question. Is 36 years a long time or a short time to double your money?
Long.
That's way too long, right? So most people, again, don't understand that even though 2% sounds good, they're comparing it to 0.2 or 0.5 that they're getting at the bank. They think 2% is good. But when we teach them the Rule 72, they realize that even 36 years is too long of a period of time. Now let's go up to 10%. 10 divided into 72 is 7.2. That means now my $10,000 is going to double every 7.2 years. So over the same 36-year span of time, I've accumulated $320,000. Okay? Now here's a really silly question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Would you rather accumulate $20,000 or $320,000? Right? 320. All the friends and family that you guys are thinking of right now, what do you think they would rather accumulate? 320, right? And so our role is to show people where to go to get that money. Now I know what you're thinking, 10%. You go, that sounds pie in the sky. That sounds like too big of a number. Where do you get 10%? I'm going to depart really quickly from this and show you guys an illustration of one of the products that our firm and Katie is going to be working with to help families achieve that goal. Okay? So this is an account called an index account, and in an index account we're using the stock market to grow money. Okay? So here's 3 indexes. Are you guys familiar if I say S&P 500? Do you know what that means? Have you heard the term S&P 500? Okay. So the S&P 500 is the U.S. economy. The Euro Stoxx 50 is Europe. Okay, there's 50 big companies in the European economy, and then the Hang Seng Index is China, or the Hong Kong market. So all 3 of these indexes help the family to grow money. Okay, but here's what you're going to notice. See the purple box here? That's the index interest rate. And so if the economy or if the market is down or negative like it was in 2001 or 2002 or 2008, you'll notice that the purple line does not follow the market when the market's negative. In 2003 through 2007, the interest was added to their account, or their account grew by the amount of interest that the market was giving. And you'll notice here that it was closer to that 10%, 7 to 10% line that I talked about before in the Rule 72, right? So how do you think people would feel if they could participate in the market when the market is growing, but never have to participate in the market when the market's negative? How do you think that would make people feel about their money?
That'd be good. Safe.
Yeah, it feels safer, right? Do you think most people or I should just ask you guys, why do you think people aren't saving money now? Why do most people not save money? What are they worried about?
Either paying off debt or knowing that they don't have enough to save or losing it.
Okay, or losing it. How would people lose money? What's one of the ways people would lose money if they're saving it?
In the market.
In the market, right? In the stock market. So when you look at these negatives in the market, people are fearful of that, right? But again, you just got to imagine how would people feel knowing that they participate in the market when it's up and never have to participate in it when it's down. And and that's what this account is doing. Isn't that amazing?
It is.
Have you guys ever seen anything like that before?
No, but you need to go see your dad. Mike's dad lost money in 2008.
Okay.
So in his 401k.
Absolutely. And so this is the kind of impact that Katie's going to be making for families she's serving, and making sure that we're fighting, for a higher interest rate and preventing downside in the market. Okay? All right. So the other thing that Katie's going to be working with families on is helping them to reduce the impact of taxes. The single biggest expense we pay in our lifetimes is taxes. Okay? Did you guys know that?
I would imagine.
Yeah, and most guys think, right, it's our wife's shoe bill, right? And when girls buy shoes and clothes, it's not. Most women think it might be college for their kids. It's not. It's taxes. And so we like to teach people how to reduce taxes. In the first box, we call this the now box. Now means every year I put money in that box, I'm taxed on it. And you can notice here that in this triangle, that all the way through here, you put money away at the beginning. As that money grows, and when you pull it out at the end, that money is fully taxable. Okay. So that would be like a savings account or a CD. In the next box, this would be tax deferred. Tax deferred would be like your 401k at work, where you'll notice it's white here now. The color white means I'm not paying any taxes. So I'm not taxed on the money when I put it in. I'm not taxed on the money as it grows, but when that seed, the amount of money I put away has turned into $1 million harvest right at the end, that's when the government comes back and fully taxes that money, okay? The last box, very few of our clients know about. It's the tax exempt, or what we call the tax never box. Tax never means, you'll notice here on the small end of the triangle, it's green. That means I'm paying taxes on the smaller portion of my money. There's no taxes that are growing, or no taxes being charged as it's growing. And then the best part about it is there's no taxes being pulled out at the end, okay? Imagine this, you guys. Imagine being a retiree, somebody who's retired, and because somebody has put your money in the right account where you're not going to be taxed, you can add an additional $800, $1,000, $1,200 a month to your monthly income because you don't owe taxes. Is that for a retiree, is that a big deal or a little deal? That's a pretty significant amount of money, isn't it? Okay. So when you think about the three tax boxes and where most people have their money, where do you think most people position their long-term money? Yeah, and the 401ks and everything, right? Most people don't even know that this box exists. Okay, so that's the difference that we're making there. Now, April, since you pointed out that you think most people put it in the middle box, why do most people put it here? Do you think they understand exactly how it's going to be taxed or how it works? Why do they choose this box? Do you think?
Because it's what our parents told us to do.
That's what your parents told you to do. Okay.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
and the company offers it.
yeah, absolutely. The company offers it. And that's, I know I used to work at American Airlines, and I started the 401k not because I really understood it. I started it because that's what the company offers. I thought, well, that was the best thing to do, right? And so those are just three of the concepts that Katie's going to be working with to make a difference for families. Do you think most people need to know those things?
Everyone does.
Everyone does, right? Our educational system doesn't do a very good job. So I'm going to finish up here today with talking about the main thing that Katie's going to be doing. The main thing we do is, it says here at the top, we perform a financial analysis, a financial needs analysis. I talked about it already. It's a strategy that looks at the client situation, and it looks at areas such as cash flow, right? What money's coming in, what money's going out, proper protection, making sure income is protected. Takes a look at emergency funds, short-term money, right? Also debt management and asset accumulation and preservation, long-term money, okay? So the plan really is, it's the MRI, right? If I'm a doctor, right, and I do an MRI for the client, I'm trying to find out what's wrong. This is the MRI for the client, okay? And because we work with that software, we're not that unique. There's a lot of companies that provide a plan for the client, but what makes the plan unique, I think, more than anything, is we do not charge for that plan. The plan is complimentary, okay? So when you think of families that you know, that whether it be your family or others, when you think of families that need that plan, just know that when you refer somebody to Katie, they're not going to call you back and be upset because we charge you $1,000 to do their plan, right? It costs them nothing to do, right? And so here's all we ask, though. Here's what it costs the family. You know that the only charge that we have on the plan is we ask for referrals, okay? If we've conducted a plan for a client and made a difference for them in their life, all we would ask in lieu of a fee is that they just refer us to 5 or 10 families like themselves that need a plan like they did. Does that sound like a fair way of doing business?
I think the only way to do business is word of mouth.
Yeah,
That's great.
absolutely, and referrals, and okay, good. And so that plan, it answers questions such as, how do I create a workable savings plan that I can stick to? What goals should I set? How much do I need to save toward those goals, right? It's not just about throwing 5% of my income into a 401k. You don't know if that's going to get you there, right? How much insurance do I need? What types of plans should I consider? Don't you guys think that most families, if not all families, could benefit from having those questions answered?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we could.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And it's funny you say that, April, because I think a lot of families feel like, man, I've not gotten those answers yet either. So, in just a minute here, if you guys would like to get a roadmap completed or get some questions answered that you have, I'll give you an opportunity to do that here in just a minute. I'm going to just really quickly show you a sample of a roadmap so you'll know exactly what Katie's doing. And again, families, you refer to her, you'll know what they're going to get. So I'm just going to flip through this. I'm not going to spend a ton of time here. But the first thing that we do is we establish for that family what their goals are. If a family doesn't know what their goals are, what their dreams are, there's no way we can help them accomplish those goals, right? And so that's the first thing we do. Second thing we do is we take a look at their household budget. What money is coming in, what money is going out, how do we reduce expenditure to then help them save that money? That's what these pages cover here. We also take a look at their income protection situation. Oh, I'm sorry, the next section is debt. Okay, so we take a look at their debt situation. Do you guys know families that are in debt or struggling with debt?
Oh, yeah, lots of them.
Yeah, lots of families do. So we want to make sure that we have a good understanding of what their debt is, and we've got strategies and ways to help those families reduce that debt in order, again, to help them save more money. Okay? We also take a look at their income protection need and making sure that we're protecting their greatest asset, which we talked about before. Do you guys remember what we talked about before? What's a family's greatest financial asset?
Be their house.
Their house. Okay, good guess. That's what most people say. The family's greatest financial asset is their ability to generate income. So in this section, we're looking at what is needed, what's the right amount to help that family protect their income. Because as we said earlier, if income goes away, what happens to our savings?
Savings go away.
It goes away as well. So we establish what the right need is for the husband and the wife, and then we also go into retirement. Okay. So I'm not going to go through all the numbers, but basically on this family, for this family example, they needed an extra $500 a month that they needed to be saving toward retirement to be on track for their goal. Right? So in other words, the 5% that they were saving into their 401k was not enough. They needed more. But isn't it good to know this number, having 15, 20, 25 years to work on it?
Yeah.
It is, right? Versus being right on top of retirement and going, man, I wish I would have known this 20 years ago, right? And so that's the value of the plan. That's the main thing that we do. April, you mentioned earlier that you loved working in dentistry because what you do is serving people and making a difference for them. You see, even though this is not dental hygiene, you see how this makes a difference for families and what Katie's doing with our firm and helping those families.
Oh, absolutely. I see the need for this every day, even in our patients, so that they can decide what choices are as far as for monetary service in their care.
Well, keep that in mind. I'll talk more about the interview process here in just a minute, but if you're wanting to be in an industry that makes a difference for people, this might be a good step for you. Okay. So I've just got one last question for you guys. I'm going to give you a business review card and we'll be done. And I'm just going to share that. I just have, like I said, one more question, kind of a funny story to share with you guys. It's really in regards to our expansion. Have you guys remember, I'm going to take you back to 1981. Do you guys remember the early 80s? Okay, all right, yeah, we're all very young, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to 1981, and we're walking down the alley, and an alley in 1981 in the early 80s, and we see a garage door rolled up. Okay, and the garage door happens to be the garage door of Bill Gates. Okay, and we walk by and we kind of peek in, and there's these guys with these big glasses and long hair, and they're in there talking about something, and we're kind of curious. So we poke our head in, and Bill Gates sees us looking in and says, "Hey guys, if you want to come in and have a seat here, we're getting ready to launch this company called Microsoft. We think that the computer industry is going to be the next greatest thing, and we think we have something special. If you want, we have an extra chair. Would you like to hear the story?" Okay, and wouldn't that be crazy to be a part of that? Right? I know it's kind of a funny thing to think about, but let me ask you this: knowing what you know now about the success of Microsoft, the thousands of millionaires that it's produced, do you think you would have taken the chair?
I think so.
Yeah, who wouldn't, right? As they always say, hindsight is 20/20, right? And so here's why I asked you that question, that kind of funny story. Transamerica really believes that chair still exists, but it doesn't exist in the computer industry anymore, right? It doesn't exist in the airline industry anymore like I used to work in. We believe it exists in the financial industry. There are 76 million baby boomers, Generation X, Generation Y, all these families that need help that aren't going to get help unless there's a company like ours willing to help them. Okay, so if you said yes, I would definitely take that chair. I'm going to give you guys a business review card to really tell you, if this is a good fit for you, how you can take a chair in the interview process with our company. Okay, and so the business review card I'm going to hand you. This will help me keep track of Katie's training as well. So if you guys can fill this out, the top section is your name, address, and phone number. Down below here are 3 check boxes. The first one says starting with us from a career or business standpoint. Okay, so this box would mean that either yourself or somebody you know might be open or would be open to interviewing with our company. And since you guys said that you would be open to taking the chair with Microsoft, in my opinion, why let another great opportunity pass you by, right? If there are people, April, that you know that would be open to interviewing with us, check that box and put their name on the back. Learning more about financial solutions for my family would mean you to say, hey, you know what, that roadmap that Katie is going to be working with her clients on, I'd like to see what that roadmap looks like. And I know you guys said that you had some concerns, about your own. April, you had mentioned as we were going through that you felt like there were some questions that you could have answered in your own financial life. If you guys would like to do that, just check that box there, or both will be above. Okay, and so that card again will help me keep track of Katie's training. I'm going to give that to you guys, and there's a pen. Go ahead and fill that out. All right, okay. Just fill it out real quick. Check both the above there.
Okay.
All right, great. Good deal. It was great to meet you guys. I noticed that you checked both of the above here, which I think would make sense, April, especially because you seem like you were open to maybe looking at different career directions since you've not had a raise in the last, you said, 5 years. Why don't we do this? Let's get a time schedule to get you down for interview. Today's Monday. I do have a corporate overview that we're running tomorrow at 6:30 in the evening tomorrow, or on Saturday morning at 9:30. Either one of those 2 times would be good for a next step in the interview process with our company. Which one of those 2 times would work for you, do you think?
Maybe Saturday, or Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah, tomorrow night.
Yeah, it'd be great if you guys could both come. Even though we might mainly be looking at you, it'd be great to get some feedback, Mike, from you. And so I'll make sure you have the address to our office. Make sure you guys are attired professionally because this is an interview environment. And I'll look forward to getting you guys down tomorrow at 6:30. And you'll meet some of our staff. We'll go through a full corporate overview. Some of the things I covered tonight will be gone over again, okay? But there'll be other things like our compensation plan and a few other things you'll get that you did not get tonight. And I noticed you also checked off getting a financial roadmap for your family, so let's get that scheduled as well. I've got some availability on either Wednesday at 6 or we can do Thursday at 5 for your roadmap. Which works best for you guys?
I'm good. Wednesday at 6 will be good.
Wednesday at 6 o'clock, okay. So Wednesday at 6 o'clock for your roadmap, and then we'll see you guys at the office. We said Tuesday at 6:30, right? So I'll see you the next couple of nights. I'll get to see you guys. That'll be great. Now, as we wrap up tonight, are there any families that you guys thought of that would either be good fits from a career standpoint, or other families that you know that would benefit from what Katie's going to be doing to help them financially?
Like my dad, like you said.
Yeah, April mentioned Mike's dad. Okay, great. What's your dad's name?
Bill.
Bill. Okay, great. Bill and Bill Grisham.
Yep.
Is that right? Okay, great. April, are there any other dental hygienists that you worked with that also, like you, were dissatisfied without getting a raise for the last 5 years?
There's a few that I can think of, and I actually have a list of about 50 hygienists in Colorado, so I could probably get that to you also. I know there's a couple offhand that I just have their names of.
Okay. What are the 2 that you're thinking of? What are those 2?
Mary Smith.
Mary Smith. Okay.
And Jennifer Jones.
Jennifer Jones. Okay, great. When you come tomorrow night, if you're able to bring that list with you, we are aggressively expanding. It's not just a forever open door either. So if that list of folks that you're thinking of, if you can print that or get that to Katie or myself tomorrow when we see you at the office, that'd be great. All right, very good, guys. We have a great next step. Great next steps with you. It was great to meet you tonight. All right, thanks for helping Katie with her training. Great to meet you. Absolutely. All right.
Good luck, Katie. You're doing great. It's a great company.
All right, very good. Have a great night, guys.
Thanks.
All right, there you have it. We did the ASAP appointment, and I hope that was a very helpful process for you guys. Watch it over and over again, and repetition is the mother of skill. Make sure you practice those questions over and over again, and good luck out there in the field.